Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showing you how you can connect Clay to any third-party tool that does not have a native integration with Clay already, and specifically how you can pull this off using the new feature inside of the HTTP API enrichment that came completely unnoticed, completely under the radar recently. But for those of you that may not be aware, all you would need to do is type in HTTP API in the top right-hand corner. You would typically see this enrichment here, which enables you to connect Clay to any third-party tool. Typically, this is where you get stuck. You try to ask a techie friend of yours how to connect this, and you give on any hope after it gives you an error message. Now, you should skip through that trial and error going forward simply by following the steps in these slides that you can get down below underneath the video, so go check them out. But essentially, regardless of what platform you're trying to connect to Clay, I would recommend that you use this prompt as the baseline every single time. So I use this snippet all the time to just explain to HTTP API what I'm trying to do here. So I always say, this is the API request I want to make a call to, and this leaves me with basically some context. So I'm just going to say reon email verifier, and I want to verify an inputted email, right? Using reon email verifier. Like you can be super dummy proof when it comes to this. Then after that, you could say something like, oh, I want to use Clay. In Clay, I have the following input, and I'm just going to say email domain.com. I want to ask the API call if the email is valid or not, right? And then on top of that, please tell me what info goes where using the Clay module and the request button. I know right now you're probably thinking, ooh, it doesn't sound too techy, like I was expecting you to teach me about APIs and like all the different like API documentations. But the reality is you're on the wrong channel if you're expecting that, because I'm not particularly techy. I've just got some common sense, which I'm trying to share with you here. So essentially, if you have the documentation, like the actual API documentation URL, you can copy and paste this here as well. But for the purpose of this demo, 99% of the time, you could just basically give it a prompt. And over here, you just need to specify the tool I want to connect is, and then just basically say reon email verifier. I know I said it a couple of times, but it's important. After that, I can click on generate API connection, and this will be the most magical part of this video whatsoever. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like this video whilst you're watching this refresh over here. And pretty much instantly, it will give you the exact tool name at the top of the screen. It will tell you the inputs that you need. So in this case, it will tell you need an email. So you can basically just grab an email from the Clay table. You'll ask you for the API key and the mode, right? A lot of the time, this is contextual. So sometimes it may ask you for 5 inputs, in which case you would need to reverse engineer what these inputs are. But in this case, it basically asked me for the API key. So I'm just going to go into my email verifier app and just call this test, create API key, and just basically just copy this API key into the Clay table. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here. And the mode, I'm not actually too sure about. So in this case, I have no idea what that mode is, but it says it's optional. So I'm just going to say add to config. And as soon as you click on add to config, you will basically just add the configuration. So in other words, you will just create this entire API request for you. You can click on save and run one row. In this case, let's just wait for this to load really quickly. You can see status code 200 means that I did this to perfection. And trust me, this was my first take of this video. Sometimes, you know, it takes me a couple of takes to actually record this correctly. But in this case, I got this right. Of course, there are some HTTP API requests that are a lot more complex, in which case you may need to basically screenshot it, input into ChatGPT. For that, I would recommend for you to switch to developer mode. For whatever reason, I found that in developer mode, ChatGPT is really, really good for that. Once again, you can Google how to do that, to change ChatGPT or Claude or whatever to developer mode, so it's a bit more proficient with this. But from my experience, it's as simple as that. All it really takes from now on is for you to just be super, super good at prompting over here where you generate that prompt. And if you want to grab this prompt that I use every single time to basically connect via HTTP API to any third-party tools, just go and grab it. It will be the top link in the description down below. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. If you want me to learn all of this funky API stuff and try to teach you the technical parts of like the get and post requests and all that boring stuff, let me know as well, because, you know, that's something that's probably on my bucket list, but I gotta admit, it's not like in the top 50 items on there for sure. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. If you like this one, just make sure to like the video, as I mentioned like a million times. Make sure to subscribe, because let's be real, we want to be pushing for that 2K subscriber mark, probably by March or so at least. So yeah, no pressure. Go tell a friend about the channel as well. Tune in to future videos. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.